Hey guys, Kev here, and I want to do some first impressions for you. I just did one with a bunch of budget knives, and this one's a little bit higher end. Well, the cheapest one is like 80 bucks, and the most expensive is like 330. So, it's not like super premium, but they're not budget, I wouldn't say. 79 bucks might be budget. Probably for me under 100 is. But I think to a lot of people, that's, a good price for a knife. Anyway, let me start it off with the Ochsworx Osprey Edx. So this is his production version of his custom Osprey. You guys have seen this on my channel before. I just showed it in my Black Friday knife ramble, but I also did a video on the prototype. He let me check that out. That was in a blue G10, which was really cool. But I ended up pre-ordering this with the carbon fiber. So I got it in, and man, it is a sweet, sweet knife. The changes he made, I think, were all for the positive. The only thing I would have liked to have seen, which I mentioned, was to move up the bolster a little bit so that for a lefty you had a little bit more space to plant your thumb when you're going to try to reverse flick it. But he honestly, I don't think he made this knife to be reverse flicked, because when I had the prototype, I remember telling him I was able to flick it, and he was like, oh really? Because like I've tried and I was never able to. So I don't think he ever intended it to, but it works out great. And I can do it as a lefty. I just get down here, and it really fires out. You can hear the acoustic. Well, hopefully you can. See, but I will occasionally miss it. That was a little unusual. The detent is on the stronger side because of the minimal flipper tab here. Just the way it's done, it just really fires out. It's excellent. Really, really excellent. As just a flipper, this knife is incredible. I've been, like, just flicking it like crazy. Absolutely love it. But you can throw in the reverse flick, and then you're good to go. It does have a reversible clip, which is awesome. He put this dope filler tab in there. See, you can do this, and it basically is hidden. Like, so for the people who say you can't use a reversible clip, it ruins the show side, it doesn't. I mean, look, you just barely see the cutout, right? I don't know. But I very much enjoy that ergonomically. So it's a 3.3-inch knife and blade, sorry, and my hand just fits perfectly back here. And that flipper tab is so minimal, the jimping's on top, that it doesn't like bite me at all. And my large glove size hand fits perfectly back here. But then you have a choil. And man, is that comfortable right here. Very, very comfortable. The blade has an excellent hollow grind, which I can just feel it right here. It just thins out extremely well. We get some paper. And I get excellent control because I'm in that choil. And man, they just did a great job. This is M390 and titanium, obviously, with the carbon fiber inlay or onlay titanium clip. Excellent. The clip, I'd say, is slightly tight. I got to test it on more pants. I wore my 511 tactical pants, and it didn't quite want to go all the way in the pocket. So we'll see if that's a problem with like normal jeans, but it wasn't like an issue because it went far enough, that I wasn't worried. But like, I do like my clips to seat fully, obviously. But the fact that you have a reverse flick and a flipper tab and really good acoustics, just a sweet sound to it. I'm tempted to put bearings in now that it's been a couple days. I always say I won't, and then I do. But it drops so well, and then a couple of shakes, and she's down. The only reason I say I might want to do it is because I can feel a little bit, like the tiniest smidgen of what I call pivot lash. Honestly, now I don't feel it at all. Maybe a little bit. where basically between open and close, you can feel a little bit of movement in there. It's not blade play because it's a rock like this, right? It's something that is a pet peeve of mine for some reason. Let me zoom in, and you can check out this awesome detail on the titanium. Beautiful carbon fiber. Yeah, it would have been dope if it was like fat carbon or marbled or something instead of just standard, but still looks really good. I love all the rounded edges. Really gives me that sharp by design type feel, how rounded all the corners are and everything. Just a really good looking knife, you know. Let me open it up for you. Awesome belt satin. The prototype was in stonewash, so this is definitely better in my opinion. Oh, is it numbered? Hang on. I know the card said I had number 92, but I didn't realize the blades were numbered. Hold on. Yeah, M390-92. Wow, that's pretty cool. That's awesome. I didn't know that. So these are available actually right now, at least as I'm filming this on November 28th. I got mine for $330 with the carbon fiber because I pre-ordered. The G10 one, I think it's slate gray G10 or slate blue. That one goes for $330 now. So I paid that for this. You would pay that for the G10. Then you add $10 for micarta. There's a green micarta for $340, and then there's this version for $360 right now on his website. So you can get one of these currently, which is awesome because a lot of times these pre-orders come in and then they're gone, or they come in and then there's a drop a week later for the same price as the pre-order. So I'm just glad he added something there. Not great for you guys trying to get one, but you know, one quick size comparison and then I'll move on. Sorry, I spent a lot of time on that one. So 3.3 inches should be dead on with the Malibu, and we are dead on with the Malibu. Malibu might have it by a hair in the handle and maybe a smidgen in the tip. So this might be 3.25, but close enough. You guys can see the size there. So that's the Osprey Edx from Eric Oaks. Loving this knife right now. So this next one is the TwoSun TS240, loaned into me by Jared Neve. And I really don't like trailing point knives. But this knife is really cool. So I got to give him that. It's in 14C28N. It has this awesome, like, garage stop pin. You see how it is right there, and then it travels through, bang, and then closing, same thing, seats back in. I love that. Flipper tab is awesome on this thing. Just a good detent. It's dialed like literally perfectly. You can reverse flick it. This is all right-handed, obviously. Thumb flick, right-handed works great. Left-handed, you have a thumb flick. You have a thumb flick, the flipper, and you can reverse flick it, but you got to climb all the way down the frame lock and make sure you're not putting any pressure on it because up here, I can't get it. So that's a bummer for me as a lefty, but if I was right-handed and into trailing points, this would be a cool knife. White Mountain Knives had these for $79. I don't think they're available right now. You could check White Mountain Knives. You can also check OCD for EDC.com. They sell TwoSuns. You can always request TwoSuns, I think, from them, and they could order it the next time or something. But yeah, overall, it's like a cool knife. I mean, let's take a quick look at it. You got this cool, like, burst kind of pattern on the scales, some milling. It has speed holes, but they're kind of cool, actually. They're very small to begin with, and they get a little bigger, but you know, it's overall not huge. I hate when speed holes are like, you can stick your finger in them. I love this like bullet casing pivot. It says made in Yangjiang, China, where all knives are made, basically. TwoSun knives. This is an older one, I think, but I love that pivot. It's a night morning design. There's your 14C, which I've heard actually the satin on 14C is not the best because it scratches easily. The closing action is very smooth, very good. And yeah, overall it's good. It's got like a flipper choil, sorry. Feels good in hand. It's got a little poon spoon right here, which I'm not reaching that far. I'd be back here. So I'd probably just hold it like this to cut. I guess I could cut for you. This has a factory edge, I believe, Jared said. So very good edge. TwoSun does a good job. The clip is got the speed holes as well. It's got good retention. So going in pocket, it pops right over and pops right out. It's not an issue. It's a little bit sharp up here, I've noticed, because I had it in pocket and I kind of like reached past the knife. And this is an extremely sharp corner right here. Let me see if I can zoom in and show you. Can you see it? I don't know if there's a burr or what, but right there, this is sharp as hell. So like I ran my finger past it, ow, and it'll scratch you up a little bit. It's not terrible, but I mean, it's on the outside of the clip right where you're gonna touch it. So that's not great, but overall for a trailing point, I think it's a great option. If you're into trailing points and you're right-handed, I think you'll like this one. I'd say this one's more like 3.3 inches, more like the Malibu. Let's see. Yep. Yeah, maybe slightly bigger, but it's pretty close to these two. So there's that. That's the TS240. Then we have the TwoSun TS223. This one's a Jelly Jerry design. Again, loaned to me by Jared Neve. M390 with a belt satin, sorry. Very clean spine. Carbon fiber and titanium. I said in the unboxing it felt heavy for what it was. And I think that was just from what I was handling before that was lighter. Because now that I'm handling it, it seems perfectly fine, the weight. They are kind of thick scales, but it's not really too thick or anything. It also has that cool garage stop pin feature where it travels around, pops in, which I really like. Flipper is dialed perfectly. Detent is not too strong, but not weak at all. It's perfect. Now, my issue with it is this flipper tab's a little bit sharp. The edge there, it's just a little bit. But I feel like it's done that way because of the way they dialed the detent. I don't know. I think they dialed the detent because of the flipper or vice versa. Because if this detent was any stronger, this thing would be ripping up your finger when you were flipping it. But it doesn't because the detent's fine. You know, I don't know if that makes sense. Now, I'm having an issue with double clutching on this knife. So you'll see there, I disengaged it, but I have floppage. It has a detent ball track right there, or a detent ball ramp, sorry. But it doesn't quite get over it as smoothly as you'd want. So you're kind of getting double clutched a lot. At least that's what I had happening. I'm sure once you use it a lot, you'll learn to go lower down, pass it, and then go. But I'm doing this, and it's just getting caught. And as a lefty, that's just never a good thing on a knife, having a detent break that late, because I'm going to do that a lot. You know, I'm going to have to disengage and push it all the way down to here and then go to shake it home. I also feel like this should have better action. I don't know if it's just dirty or whatever. There's no play, so it's locked up solid, but I hate that. And then I wish it would just drop a little more. It's smooth and it's good. Like, most people would not complain about this, but I don't know. I just prefer drop shut. And it has a pretty thick stock and everything, so I feel like the blade should be heavy enough to swing shut. Dead nut centered on this one. This one, I believe, has a secondary edge from Jared, so cuts really well, of course. That one's $139 on White Mountain Knives. Again, not available. But for M390 and titanium and carbon fiber for $130 or $140 is ridiculous. So I love the blade shape. Ergonomics fits really well in my hand. It's a big knife. So let's compare it to the ones we've been comparing. Right there. So this one's like a 3.5-inch blade, let's say. So it's a little bit bigger, so it fits in your hand well. No choil, but you could do this if you wanted to. Love the blade shape. Just a really cool. This is one that always intrigued me. When I first got into collecting, I was looking at TwoSuns a lot on eBay. And this was one I always wanted and I never got. And I think a year and a half ago, I probably would have really liked this knife. But now I'm just like, it's a good knife. You know, it's just not for me. Flipper only. And doesn't have the best closing action. And has a bit of a sharp flipper tab. And it's right hand only. And again, we have very light retention on this clip. Which, you know, it's not an issue. But, you know, if I get on a roller coaster, I don't want my knife falling out. So, I'm just kidding. But it's better than having it be too stiff. It's a little stabby too right here, by the way. But yeah, cool knife. That's the TS223 from Jelly Jerry. So thank you, Jared Neve. And then the last one I have here is the Kansept Shikari. And this one's loaned in by Backpack B. So thank you, Brent. And this one is just not my cup of tea, and I am not a fan of it. But I have to admit that Kansept did a great job on the build quality. I mean, it drops shut like a freaking guillotine. It's a pretty slim knife. It's just very well machined is kind of what I'm getting at. The way they finished this, I mean, can I feel it? Yeah, I can just slightly feel that transition, but I mean, it is close to Riot quality on that transition. This burlap is absolutely fantastic. Just very, very well done in terms of the build quality. I'm impressed by Kansept. Usually with Kansept, now I haven't tried taking this apart, but usually with Kansept, it feels like Kaiser too. It feels like they just pieced their knives together and like, when you take one apart, you're like screwed. Like, it seems like they do whatever they have to do to squeeze it together and get the pivot tight and get it to where it is. But they don't think about the user, you know, maintaining their knife. Because then when you take it apart, you go to put it back together and centering doesn't line up, or, you know, it's just something always seems off. That's kind of been my problem with Kansept since the beginning. There's a little bit of blade play. I don't feel any lock rock. It's a heavy blade, man. It's coming down on my thumb. Sorry. I'm starting to feel the flu here again. It's a big-ass knife. I mean, look at this. So, definitely, if you're a big knife guy, this might be the one for you. It's 20 CV, which is cool. A little different, because Kansept always uses S35, which I hate. You see that my card is just gorgeous. There's the bolster. There's your model number and the steel. There's your ugly ass Kansept logo. And I hate their belt satin. This is belt satin. It just looks, I don't know. Just doesn't look good to me. Shikari, Morgan Cohn's design. Really cool design. I wish they made like a 3.5-inch version or something. Reverse flick. It's just, the detent's a little stiff. It's a little stout. I think that's because of the size of the blade. They were like, we got to make sure it fires out. So it does work left-handed because there's a bolster lock. This clip is good. It's got more retention than there's TwoSuns. Nice and long clip, flat clip, so you don't feel it in hand. It also has enough ramp there to get you in. Yeah, it's definitely a cool knife. This one goes for $262. on White Mountain Knives. I believe it is available. So you can check that out. Use my code Lefty10 if you're interested. Got a little bit of a poon spoon there. Yeah, if you're a big knife guy, I think this might be a good one for you. For that price, you know, I gotta say, man, they're getting close to Riyadh on this one in particular. Not quite, but, you know, you're talking $262 instead of, you know, just this guy right here is $330 from Riyadh. Now, you can see differences, the machining going into it and all that stuff, but, yeah, they did a good job on this one. So, that's the Shikari. We have the TS223, TS240, and the EDX Osprey from Ochsworx. And I always want to say EDX Osprey. It's the Osprey EDX. That's funny. I put them in size of, an order of size. Let me just cut with this guy real quick. Yeah, good edge. Just freaking huge, man. It's one of those monstrosity knives, you know. Oops, sorry. Yeah, so I'd say out of all of these, obviously this one's mine, and I pre-ordered it, and I really like Eric, and I like this knife because I had the prototype in, and it made me want to pre-order one. So, I really like this knife. But out of the loaners here, I think this is my favorite one, the TS240. Just a very unique design. It just, the action's dialed very well. Yeah, if I was right-handed, I might actually pick one of these up, even though I don't like trailing points. Just unique. Look at it. This is one TwoSun that may actually speak to me a little bit. So, Jared, you got some soul here, brother. The 240 got soul, baby. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Apologies for my voice and probably a little bit down, but I'm trying here, guys. I love you so much. I hope you have an absolutely fantastic day, and I will catch you later.